I must say, this is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. Pro Football Focus names the Eagles' offensive line as the best in the NFL. Pretty insane stuff, because all offseason I've been kind of saying, the Eagles' offensive line is very underrated, and in a lot of ways I think the offensive line is actually better than the defensive line. Now, do I agree with the rankings? I mean, it's hard for me to believe that the Eagles actually have the best offensive line in football, but like I said, it's very underrated. You have a pair of tackles. I mean, it's hard to get a pair of tackles that are as talented as Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, even though Peters is getting up there with age. Where would I rank the Eagles' offensive line? I'd say between 5 and 10. I think they're a fringe top 5 kind of unit. I would still take Dallas's O-line. I would still take Cleveland's O-line. I would take Tennessee's O-line. But let me just say this on Dallas's front, because there's just this assumption that they're the number 1 offensive line. Well, let me tell you guys something. They've lost some guys during this offseason. Doug Free retired, not that he was the best in the world. Ronald Leary went to Denver, not that he was the best in the world, but there are some concerns when it comes to that Dallas O-line. Can Lael Collins really make that transition from left guard to right tackle? He hasn't been great so far. He hasn't been that good. I'm not going to lie. He hasn't been that good. And you're replacing the left guard spot with Jonathan Cooper, who hasn't necessarily killed it himself. So you have 2 new starters on that Dallas offensive line. I'll tell you what, Dak Prescott, when he was in college, he struggled with pressure up the middle. And if they can pressure Prescott, he will not be putting up those numbers that he did last season. So really, really interesting to see how that Dallas situation plays itself out. But hey, I've been doing some of my rankings, and I'll be unveiling this. But as you can see, I've got Jason Peters at number 10. Down here, I've got Lane Johnson at number 13 at tackle. And you can see Tennessee, man, they killed it with their selections. Taylor Lewan a couple years ago, last year with Jack Conklin. Great tackles there. Now let me move on to some guards. Now, as you can see, Brandon Brooks is up there. I got him at number 9 in terms of the guards. But Dallas, Zach Martin, he's at number 2. Marshall Yanda is always going to be the best guard, at least right now. He's been killing it for a while now. But just kind of running down real quick. And then you come to the centers, and, it's... centers. I did these last, actually. So these will be unveiled pretty soon on the Bitterbirds channel. But I got Travis Frederick at number 1. And Kelsey, he's down there somewhere. There you go, number 19. So I don't have Kelsey up there yet. As maybe as high as maybe Pro Football Focus. I don't know, but... number 1 offensive line in the NFL. That's some interesting stuff for me. And, yeah, so what do you guys think? Are they really the best offensive line? I kind of find that hard to believe. But I do think it's definitely underrated, and a unit that didn't get as much respect as it should have last year. It just, once Lane Johnson went down, that was the problem. And it took Big V a couple games to really get it going. Now, let me kind of run down this list. Let me see who else they got, just so see if I agree with them or not. Number 1, they got the Eagles. Number 2, they got Cleveland. See, Dallas, they don't have till number 9, which is kind of crazy. Pittsburgh, they have at number 3. Wow. I do think Alejandro Villanueva is underrated at left tackle. I do think Marcus Gilbert is underrated at right tackle. They still got Pouncey, Ramon Foster, and David DeCastro. So that is a really good offensive line. I'd probably say it's better than the Eagles. Pittsburgh, I wouldn't put them at number 3, though. Maybe number 4, number 5. Because Tennessee, Dallas, Cleveland, those are my top 3. Pittsburgh's right there, too, though. They got Chicago at number 5. Okay. I mean, I don't like Chicago's tackles, but their interior of the offensive line is very good. With their guards, Kyle Long, Josh Sitton, pretty big names. And Cody Whitehair came in as a rookie, billed as a guard / tackle, but their center got hurt, I believe. Hronis Grasu, and Whitehair played at center for them. He was very good for Chicago last season. They got number 6, they got Atlanta. Okay, I like their tackles. Oakland, number 7. Actually, Oakland should be higher than 7. Oakland's pretty good. That's a great offensive line. Green Bay at 8. Yeah, Green Bay slid because they don't have Josh Sitton and TJ Lang anymore. All right. And then they got Dallas at 9, and rounding out the top 10 are the Bills. Let's take a look at that Atlanta offensive line. Hold on. They got them at number 6. That seems a little high. Actually, it's pretty good. I mean, I do like Schrader and Matthews. Alex Mack's a great center. Andy Levitre, they got in a trade. And sixth-rounder from last year right now on their depth chart at right guard, Wes Schweitzer. I couldn't tell you anything about him. Don't know who that is. So, all right. That's about it for this one. Eagles offensive line, number 1 in the NFL, even though I wouldn't put him that high. Maybe number 5, number 6, number 7, somewhere around there. But, yeah, that's it.